Today, from the Tards Games team, we present you a strategy that uses artificial intelligence to learn based on the data obtained from the market and give us the best possible entries. If you look at the top right, in the statistics of the last month, you can see that we have obtained 85.7% using this strategy. You know that in recent months have begun to leave many applications that use artificial intelligence to improve a business style. It is clear that in the future mankind will use these artificial intelligences to optimize absolutely everything. We have managed to adapt this technology to the world of trading, and we have achieved a strategy that, as you see there, works for any asset both in forex and stocks or cryptocurrencies. In particular, we will operate in a time frame of 15 minutes, which is perfect for day trading. The win rate that we have achieved testing this strategy in more than 1,000 trades has been approximately between 83 and 89%, and as I said in this last month has been 85.7%, using a trading style with 1.5/1 ratio. We have also tested other ratios, even letting some trades run, and we have found that in the long term it is always better to make a fixed ratio of that 1.5/1. Welcome one more day to the trader's game. And before we start, we have created for all of you a free community on Telegram where we will be informing you day after day of what is happening in the financial markets. It is completely free. You will have the link in the description, so do not forget to sign up, because in the markets the most important thing is to always be informed. And for all those who are looking for the best platforms with the best free bonuses if you want to start in the world of trading, you will also have the trading bonus page in the description. You can even sign up for their newsletter, so that every week they send you an analysis of everything that has been happening in the market during the week directly to your inbox. Well, the first thing we should do to use this strategy is to go to the indicators section and look for machine learning, which already its name refers to that AI, and that the parameters that gives us this indicator are learning from the other data that we have in the market. When searching for machine learning you will find several. You have to take this one, Lorentzian classification by G. Horty. Put it in favorites to have it saved, and when you click on it you will see something like this. As you can see, it takes a little while to load because it has a lot of parameters compared to other indicators. In configuration we have to change a couple of things. First, we must check both this option to also use the filter and the data that gives us the EMA of 200 periods, as well as this other that would add the parameters of the simple averages, in this case also of 200 periods. Then something more aesthetic would be to remove the transparent color of the candles. I am going to leave it in a normal way. If you like more the other way you are free to do it, but I see the graph much cleaner this way. In the style part 1 I'm going to remove all these numbers that we are not going to need at this moment, since the indicator itself is going to mark the entries in this way that we see to the left. That is to say, we do not need to have all this visible data, because in the end it is always better to have a cleaner chart if the indicator already directly indicates us those entries. And I am also going to remove this option here, the kernel regression, for the same reason that I just told you. It is a data that is already added to our entries. Something very interesting about this indicator is that in the option of About this script, where it tells us a little history, its creator, and all the information about this indicator, we can see a lot of lore, a lot of data on what algorithms and mathematics have been based to create it. I also recommend that you take a look on your own if you are fans like us to this world. I'll stay with the first sentence that tells us that this indicator is an algorithm capable of categorizing the historical data of a multidimensional space. That is crazy. As you can see, in the same zone that I am now taking live, it would already show us several entries that if we had followed them you can see that we would have been right 100% of the time, and also with quite high profits. But we have decided to add one more indicator to this strategy that will not only help us to know where we are in the structures that are forming on the chart, but will also help us to better control our operations. In indicators we look for Keltner, and we choose this one here, Keltner Channels bands, in brackets RMA, from Trading Wolf. Very careful because there are others, but this is the correct one. We click and we would see something like this. As you can see, it has added us as an area in which the price is moving up and down as if it were in zigzag, and adds us much more information with which we can further adjust our operations. You can even see that it marks some lines of this style pointing to the divergences that occur in the price. Another very interesting thing is this central line that, if you look at many times, works as resistance or support. Having all this extra information, we can better calculate where we can put the stop loss and take profit, and adds more possibilities and security to our operations. The first thing I'm going to do is to make this line a little thicker. In this case, as you can see, we cannot change the colors, but all we need is that. These little arrows also show us the direction of the pressure that the movement is taking, and although our artificial intelligence indicator does not show us an entry, it can also give us an orientation that maybe in that area, at that point, we should not buy. Also, if you look, the gray area of our Keltner bands are colored with more or less intensity depending on the volume and strength, in this case bullish, that is reaching the movement. You can see the difference between this area that begins to have a greenish color, but it is not until this point where that green is much more noticeable, giving us to understand that it could start an uptrend right at this point. A little further back we have a much clearer example. The price arrives rising. As you can see, we have many signs of exhaustion that the price begins to have a lot of resistance, but it is not until this upper area where we see that red color becomes more intense and indicates that surely in this area we have a lot of resistance, and we could see a change of trend. In fact, it has been. As you can see, we have another retest to these upper bands and then begin to fall. And of course, putting this together with the signals that indicates our artificial intelligence indicator, we have a lot of information when moving through the chart. When entering our operations, the first thing we have to be clear is that if the price touches or approaches us at this point to the upper bands, we will have more likely that the trend that came upward begins to reverse and fall. Here we would also have another example of this great combination. First, we would place our operation. We would put the stop loss right by the previous highs of the structure, and we would look for that area of the ratio 1.5/1. We would also get a good profit, and that is why we have calculated that in the long term the best ratio is that, the 1.5/1. Because when combined with the bands, we can take advantage of many of these zigzag movements that usually makes the price between them. Then we could even take advantage of this type of situation, where you know that we are already in an area that is getting greener and greener, which tells us that every time the downward movement could turn around, so at least we should already be alert. And as you see, just has coincided that this area is in which the price and the trend begin to reverse. And if we continue, you can see that even if we had made small purchases in each of these marks of upward pressure, coming from that area so intense and green, we would have made a brutal profit until the first red mark. When just the price touches the top of the bands, i.e. we go from one extreme to another extreme. Again, we have another signal. We place our stop loss and we place our take profit at that ratio of 1.50/1, and here we would get our profit. And we also see that just before our signals, both this one and this one, we have areas that get greener and greener. So at the moment we have that signal, we do not think about it, and we place our stop loss again in place, and we look for that ratio 1.5/1, which would touch us just to the millimeter in this area. With the next signal it would be exactly the same. We place the stop loss and look for a ratio 1.5/1, which we would have it exactly there. Even having all this information, we can add other basic indicators to our liking, such as the RSI, or one of my favorites with this strategy, the MACD indicator, as we can also use its crossing areas, which we already know that usually means that possible change of trend, to know if our entries are even more correct. The same happens in this one here, where there is also another cut of the MACD to the rise. If you look at it, also coincides perfectly, and is another extra help we have when trading. As you can see, it is a strategy that not only provides us with the best possible entry points in the type of movement that is taking the price, but also guides us in what situation we are in the market, and when we should or should not buy and sell, something that becomes very useful especially for those traders who want to operate day to day and in lower temporalities. If you like the video, please leave us a nice like, that is free, and share it with your friends who like the world of trading. Remember that you have in the description page with all the best deals for those who are starting in the world of trading. You can even take bonuses completely free and operate without commissions. Thank you very much for seeing us one more day from all the team of the Traders Game.